Starting with my team, I am Elizabeth Len, the head of business development and marketing from GamSwitch. We are delighted to be part of the convention for the Modulo 31. I am here with my colleagues. So basically, as Tolo rightly said, we have a limited time, but I guess it will be an interactive session because we have all the departments joining in this conversation. So I will just start with just giving a rundown of GamSwitch's interests, joining the Modulo Foundation and integration process. So basically, it all started in 2024 when the Central Bank of the Gambia seen the need for 100% interoperability between all stakeholders in the financial ecosystem of the Gambia. And the Modulo Foundation was introduced to the Gambia. It was a timely gesture, and through the Central Bank of the Gambia's adoption, GamSwitch was part of the Modulo integration. We started with various workshops in 2024, October, November 2024, with stakeholders across the digital financial ecosystem from banks, DFSPs, and microfinance coming together to grace the beginning of this adventure. Also, from that, we had different workshops with the Grand Blues Foundation on the scheme book, looking at the feasibility studies together with different financial institutions on the schemes, the fees, and also how they can integrate. So it has been really a great journey with GamSwitch and also with the ecosystem players from the banks to the microfinance to the DFSPs. Yes. So at this point, I will hand over to my colleague Adama to give a rundown also on some of the implementation process. Thank you.
Good morning from my end. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Tulo, for having us. My name is Adam Osogo. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of GamSwitch. As my colleague rightly said, Elizabeth, it was as part of the Central Bank's, the Gambia's financial inclusion strategy. It was deemed important that we have our own IIPS solution, our own proprietary IIPS solution. So this is what actually motivated the adoption of Modulo. And it has been a great journey, as Elizabeth said, so far. We've also taken a different approach to the general implementation of the Modulo compared to the already existing in IIPS system. We included only the commercial banks. So the approach through the GISP office led a project of involving all the stakeholders in the country by developing a unified scheme rulebook, which involved everyone's participation. So multiple workshops were held, leading to the development of a final version of the scheme rulebook. And I think through the GISP office, they were able to finalize a document and it's to be adopted by the Center of the Gambia, which is going to be used as a guiding document to act as a guiding principle for this whole process. So operationally, as part of the onboarding process, we've looked at the various players in the market. We have the commercial banks, you have the fintech companies, you have the microfinances. So when microfinance companies as well. So when we were deciding to start the integration process and onboard some pilot DFSPs, we spread the use cases across by selecting one commercial bank, one fintech, and a microfinance. So this actually curtails the various players, involves basically everyone from each category of the ecosystem. So there was also some technical workshop held with the help, the SI being Infitex, known by a lot of people here. So they also did a fantastic job in, we held a capacity building workshop, was held involving the developers or the SIs from, the local SIs actually, from various organizations within the country. It came out to be a fruitful one and also led to the successful onboarding of the various DFSPs. So we had we tested the use case, a P2P use case. We made successful integration between a DFSP to a non-bank DFSP to another non-bank DFSPs. We tested bank to a non-bank DFSP and vice versa as well. We've also have mechanisms in place to drive the whole operation of the whole IIPS system. One being the building a settlement module, the settlement module in place. So with settlement, we decided to go with traditionally we are doing a T+1 settlement, but with the coming of the non-bank DFSPs, whom are not as liquid as the banks, we've decided to have a comfortable or a flexible settlement cycle. So with the coming of the non-bank DFSPs, we decided to have maybe two part settlement windows in a day, just to allow them to also receive their funds of settlement, to also enable them to be liquid and then continue their operations as well. We also have a dispute mechanism in place. I think my colleague is in the call, Hassan, will be able to explain the dispute process and the way we handle disputes in the context vis-a-vis the MojaCom project. So Hassan, over to you. Can you give a brief breakdown of the dispute resolution process we have in place?
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here to share our experiences. My name is Hassan Bicham. I work with GamSwitch as a senior operation and settlement officer. Like my colleague said, Adama, I'll be touching on the disputes and reconciliation. Sorry, 1 minute. Okay. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hassan, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Like my colleague said, we've already done the testing for P2P, wallet to bank and bank to wallet. So the settlement obligations between the participants will be handled in two instances instead of how we normally settle on a daily basis. It will be handled in two instances in two separate forms. As a settlement time, calculating each participant position, validate result, and generate settlement reports. When it comes to dispute management, as we all know, dispute is inevitable. So we have a dispute platform already in place. With our technical team has already designed a dispute platform, the GamSwitch portal, which is the GamSwitch portal, where all participants have a user right where they raise disputes, so which enables the easy flow of settling disputes on a timely manner, where any participants will raise a dispute, the other participant will easily grab the dispute. So we as a hub will do the necessary decisions in making sure all settlement reports, reconciliations are uploaded on a timely manner, and reviewing those dispute claims to make sure the settlement process flows efficiently. So in this, we will make sure we ensure accurate settlements, financial obligations are completed correctly, continuous reconciliation to protect the integrity of the payment ecosystem, and to maintain confidentiality and trust between partners and participants. So I think that's it on our end, on my end, as the settlement to help settle with disputes and settlement.
Right. Thank you, Hassan. So just to give, just to also add on what Hassan said,
So
in
I
onboarding the
will likely throw back the feed to Elizabeth.
thank you, Hassan.
Hello, Ada.
Yes, thank you, Hassan. Okay. Just to add to what Hassan also said, so as part of the onboarding process for the non-bank DFSPs, traditionally we are used to dealing at times we are dealing with the commercial banks mostly when it comes to handling funds transfers as well. But during the onboarding process, part of the things that we did was also to have a capacity building with the non-bank DFSPs in terms of the way they handle disputes, in terms of the way they also settle. So I also be happy to also announce that the way we are settling the non-banks is through the sponsorship model. So with the banks, they already have accounts at the Central Bank of the Gambia. So we settle the bank traditionally via the RTGS. So with the new changes in the ecosystem also, we decided to just go with the set. But currently there's no rule stopping the non-bank DFSPs from opening an account at the central bank and be settled directly. But it was deemed necessary as a pilot, as part of the pilot process that we apply bank sponsorship model. So all the non-bank DFSPs now are widing under commercial banks, which acts as their sponsor bank. So they get settled by the commercial banks as well. So this also encourages collaboration between the banks and the non-bank DFSPs as well. So far it has been a steady, it has been a steady ride at this point. The majority, the toughest part of the job came in the beginning of just building capacity around the local SIs and also just getting them going. But we're happy to announce that we are actually at a very good stage in terms of the onboarding process. Our marketing team also doing in collaboration with the technical team in-house are doing a good job in allocating integration timelines to the DFSP. So basically all the non-bank DFSPs now have their allocated dates of integration. And so far we have been on schedule in terms of getting them integrated on the MojaCom platform. So at this juncture, I will pass the baton to our technical team to actually buttress more on their experiences vis-a-vis the integration process and the general interaction with the model core. So if over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Adama. Tulo, Nakasuwasi, I'll just talk to everyone in this call and say that Tulo and us, we do communicate in Wolof. We've been teaching him a bit of Wolof so that communication can be a lot easier. And he speaks Wolof very brilliantly. Yes. Yes, I think my colleagues have already mentioned about what our motivations were to get started on Modulo. And we did not start from scratch. We still have a solution that is the Power Card solution, but it is a proprietary, well, not proprietary to us, but it was provided by HPS. So down the line, we encountered some issues when it comes to running the Power Card because we all know, when it comes to such solutions, things along the lines of vendor lock-in and not having, the adequate access to the source code or do motivation or do some innovations at our own pace. It was primarily dependent on our vendor. So because of that, we were discussing things along the lines of exploring the open source community. And that is when, discussions were revolving around MojaLoop. So we had our switching solution. We still have that switching solution, but it is very much tied to banks because we did not have wallets, microfinances, other fintech organizations or institutions onboarded. When we started exploring MojaLoop, I think the central bank has been very instrumental and very supportive of the initiative because They had even released a directive that in the interest of interoperability in the market, all of these digital financial service providers are mandated to connect to the switch. GAMSwitch being under the central bank, we use that to our advantage, and we got started on MojaLoop. Now, from the directive from the central bank, we did not want to make it seem, too rigid. And that was the reason why we started off with, stakeholder engagements, where, we had discussions with the stakeholder. We invited them from, inception when it comes to the generation, the validation of the scheme rulebook, where we also had discussions around pricing models and, fees, things along those lines, because one thing we really considered was adoption of the solution, because we did not just want to bring the solution. We wanted, it to be adopted in the market, and then who better to, foster or encourage than the stakeholders. So we had those discussions. We looked at pricing models that, are going to be good for our sustainability purposes, but it's not going to put a huge burden on the DFSPs or ultimately the parties. Yeah. Yeah. So we started off again when we ran this solution. I have to thank Infitex, because when we started off, we did not even have the infrastructure in place. We did not have the server. So the model that we went with was we used some of their existing infrastructure. And honestly, we have to thank Infitex a lot when it comes to that. We were able to pilot the MojaLoop switch on the infrastructure, and through that pilot, as Adama alluded to, we had three variety of DFSPs. We had a bank, we had a microfinance. We piloted with those DFSPs, I think those three DFSPs, and we supported the P2P use case. That's what we were focusing on at that particular moment, and why we did that was yes, so as I mentioned before, we intended to pilot with those three DFSPs, and the targeted use case was also P2P use case, where we will also look at the end-to-end life cycle safety, considering the fact that we also have our interoperable switch that was just restricted to the banks. So we decided to pilot with the P2P. But for our on-premise deployment, we intend to add more additional use cases along the lines of merchant payment, bill payment, government to person, person to government, for taxes and all of that. So we plan to have all of those use cases. And now we've not been able to onboard more than those three DFSPs to our MojaLoop, because we have two bits of legislation that are actually blocking us. In the Gambia, we have, as of 2025, we had this legislation for the national data policy, and also the data protection and privacy policy. And those are more in the lines of data sovereignty, data retention, data sovereignty. So because of that, we are not able to host like actual production financial data outside of the country. So because of that, we have also been, with the central bank, we've been acquiring the servers that are necessary to migrate the infrastructure that we have from the solution from Infitex's infrastructure to on-premise to safeguard that data sovereignty. So we are in that process of migrating that with the support of our program sponsor as well. So if you have the data in-house, then we'll be able to onboard more participants. But yes, even with that, we're still onboarding participants on the staging environment, where we are going through the different rounds of tests that we have, and those test frameworks have also been, developed by Paul from Infitex and the rest of the Infitex team, where we also do a PIV stage, PIV1, PIV2, then we do FUT, and then we do real money transactions, which we have reached that particular stage. So that's the ultimate goal. After having the on-premise environment, then we will onboard more DFSPs on that. I believe I've said a lot. I'll invite also my colleague, I think Usman, so that he can share one or two things. I think I've been just talking for the past 10 minutes, but that is just to show, the amount of passion that we have in this project, and, how the contributions there as well. That we've benefited from, from MojaLoop, and maybe later we can also dwell on how we've benefited from the community and how we've also given back to the community. But for now, I'll just invite Usman to also share his insights there. Usman serves as our senior system architect. He's the architect behind it all. So I'll just let Usman also come in and share one or two things. Usman, over to you.
Hello, Shir. Thank you for that. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Usman Jala. I am the Senior Solution Architect here at GumSwitch. Yeah. So, as Shiv mentioned, we've been working with Infotech and implementing the modular solution for Gambia, and we're really interested in the solution, and we've been looking for our own, sovereign solution that we have here for the Gambia, where we can control our own pace of innovation and add on new services as we see and as the market demands, right? So um, during the pilot, we've been we've been working with the DFSPs, their technical teams, to get them onboarded onto Modulo. So I talked about some of the ways we went about that, and some of the technical challenges we had, and some of the insights we can share from those activities we've gone through. So when connecting to Modulo, we chose to connect using the payment manager primarily. That's our recommended approach that we offer to the FSPs. Of course, we do support also other modes of connection like direct connection or connection using a SDK scheme adapter with a custom connector. But with the payment manager, we saw a lot of benefits that it came with, because we are able to connect DFSPs to the all modular switch within a matter of days rather than weeks using the payment manager. The payment manager is an open source solution, also developed by members of the community. I think it's an adjacent project to Modulo or under Modulo. But it's been really amazing. At first, to be honest, we were a bit skeptical about using it. I think some of our implementing partners can attest to that. But we really saw some of the things they highlighted because out of the box, the payment manager comes um, with excellent features with security, inbuilt security, quick onboarding. It comes with also templates that help you quickly get your the FSP systems connected to Modulo so they can receive transfers or also send transfers from their systems out to the Modulo switch. And this really translates to a lot of things because when a DFSP can quickly onboard to a switch, they get to be able to deliver services to their customers faster. They're able to reduce costs on development time. Small DFSPs, especially and mid-sized DFSPs, really do benefit from this because there is much reduced technical complexity. Because the payment manager out of the box, it comes with so many security features. It handles the MTLS, the JWS message signing. It also comes with built-in features like HashiCorp Vault and Prometheus for monitoring and also metric collection. It comes with Keycloak, comes with a testing toolkit, and you can easily generate your MTLS certificates. So this was really this was really impressive to us, and it all comes, everything as a Docker collection. So you basically just run the Docker collection, and then you get all these features, set up within a day or so. So that really help get the DFSPs quickly onboarded. I think we were able to get some DFSPs onboarded within a week, of development, just using the payment manager compared to if a DFSP is supposed to connect directly to the switch and maybe having to invest all that cost in connecting to Modulo. So this really help the small and mid-sized DFSPs. Another advantage of the payment manager is that it also comes with portals, self-service portals that the FSPs can easily handle with a very small IT ops team, right? So they can easily rotate their certificates. They can easily monitor their own transactions, see the statistics on their transactions, how they're doing, the number of failures they have. Also monitor things like their liquidity levels, with the switch. So this really helped us with during during the integration with the DFS with the DFS space. Another thing another challenge we had here in the Gambian market is that we do have a lot of wallets. Gambia is a very small country, but we do have a lot of wallets here in the country, and so you can have one person who has multiple wallets, right? Because the interoperability between wallets is still low, but with the modular switch, we're really solving that. But due to this existing condition, so you could have one person who has a phone number and using that same phone number with a lot of different wallets. And normally with Moduloop, one of the options with the account lookup service it has is that you can register your phone number with the switch through your DFSP, and then your phone number, if that's used as the identifier, will be connected to that particular DFSP. So you're limited to that DFSP, and you will have to to change to another DFSP. We thought that this could be a problem for some people, and it increases the technical complexity. So we brainstormed with our community, the stakeholders, and our implementing partner on how we could solve it. And I'm glad to announce that we came up with a solution, which we were a very simple solution that solved it for us, and we were able to contribute this solution back to the community, as our CTO Shirif Sankar highlighted. So what we did was we allowed the DFSPs, the customer, when they are sending funds from their wallet or from their DFSP to another DFSP, whether it's a wallet, a microfinance, a bank, they are able to choose the destination institution, right? Destination DFSP. So with that, we had no need for automated lookup of the DFSP. Just the person, when sending funds, they have to do two things. They have to choose the destination institution, and then they also have to put in the beneficiary identifier. And in this case, we for non-bank institutions, we're using phone numbers, right? Because that's what it's here in the market in the Gambia. So with this, there is no need for automated lookup. When doing a lookup, it just goes directly to the chosen beneficiary DFSP and searches that beneficiary DFSP's systems for that account, and if it doesn't see it, it returns a message based on whether the identifier was found or not. So this solution was developed with Infitex. We worked hand in hand, and we were able to contribute that to the community. And I think that really that was a very insightful experience for us. So overall, it's been a great experience, and we're here looking forward. We have like really good plans for Mojiloop, and it's been overall a wonderful experience for us. Yeah. Back to you, Shiri.
Yes, Osman, I think that's perfect. You got it spot on, and that's something that we contributed. And we'll also share links to that solution that we had contributed. You can find it on Infitex site. I'll share the link in the chat as well. It's under the article how the Gambia payment it drove the latest modular innovation, and we also have that solution called the sub-ID based routing, because it's routing based on the sub-ID that you pass. Instead of just the classical party type and then the identifier, we also add the sub-ID type, which we use by sending it to the static oracle. It doesn't even involve a database. It's just a static oracle that uses, a high performance routing engine, to compile the decision table into an optimized lookup structure. So, as Usman mentioned, you need to know the participant you're sending to, so it doesn't have to go to the ALS and then it will have to identify or know that this is the participant that you're sending to. It will just automatically go to the participant, and then we'll do a lookup. So, as he mentioned, it was solving the digital wallet issue that we had, and also the low barrier to entry, because otherwise you would have DFSPs have to have some kind of opt-in mechanism. That is, whenever a wallet or a bank account is provisioned, they would have to put it into that centralized ALS service. So yeah, that was something that we contributed, and there are other things that we've also contributed to the community as well. I think we are also part of the Tazama steering committee. I have to thank Justice for that. It's been very insightful. With the work that has been done with Tazama 4.0, where we've been working with the PACES team as well, guiding also participating, in most of the discussions that are happening, particularly when it comes to the AI component of it, where anomaly detection is being leveraged, to score, and identify, high risk transactions and then flag those accordingly, which we are currently working on integrating to our switch. So even Tazama, we're even thinking of scaling it up instead of just for IIPS, to try to integrate it even to our card switch, which works on the ISO 8583, messaging protocol. So these are all things that we are actually working on. So we definitely want to participate in the community and then give back in any way that we can, and that has been so much easier based on so many initiatives that have been started, like the accelerator program. We are able to learn a lot, and we mandated even all of our team to undergo that accelerator program, and then from there we are able to join so many work streams, like the dispute resolution work stream that was being led by Promise from our switch. So as Hassan mentioned before, we have our whole dispute workflow. So we are able to bring some of those experiences when it comes to timelines or how we resolve disputes from the portal that we have, and then bring that into that work stream for potentially any kind of MVP. So we are really invested in community, in committing back to the community, and then learning as well, because from these community initiatives, we see that our relationship with MojaLoop is not transactional. It's like we get the knowledge and innovation from the community, and in return we contribute operational experience from running the payment infrastructure. So I think as we've spoken too much, I'll just hand over back to Elizabeth from the business team. Maybe they might have one or two things that they want to share, but I'll also add my contact the chat as well. If anyone wants to discuss or have any ideas or any questions, you can definitely contact me. So back to you, Elizabeth.
Okay, Elizabeth, maybe we are running a bit late. You can wrap it up in a minute or so.
Yes, all right. Thank you very much, guys. That was wonderful. So I just want to just add a few little things about the adoption also. We have a very adoption rate from the DMSPs and the node banks during the integration process. So they are eager also to connect to the project and complete their integration. So we have no resistance from the partners to connect to this foundation. Also, to answer a few of the questions in the comment, for the pricing model, we are doing a free for the pilot phase. There is no fees, but after we have rolled out of the pilot, it's just going to be a 1% fee for the transactions. Yes. So thank you very much, Tulo and back to you.
Jeff Buba, is that correct?
Yes, it's correct.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, the team in Serekunda. Thank you. I think if you, as we leave this adopters experience, if you ever want to talk to somebody who has gone through this journey, or somebody who is going through the journey as you are, you can always talk to them, or you can even request us, and we can always link you, and we are not part of the conversation. So we have had a lot of people interested in MojaLoop or currently doing their projects coming to us and saying, I would like to talk to this hub operator or its system integrator, and we are able to facilitate those discussions. So this is not the end of the GAMSwitch team. You can always reach them, and they are very generous with their experiences and their time. I think it's really a wonderful adopter to work with. So Jeff again, guys, thank you so much for the time you have given us.